All right. Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to a special edition Cabana Pep Rally. Get it? And Heck Happy Hour show with Motley Investor. Yeah, we just wanted to check in. Pep and I are down here pretty much on the edge of the storm, and Motley's back in closer to my homeland.
Safe in Virginia.
Yeah, how are things? I think you say you went to King's Dominion?
Yeah, we went to King's Dominion last weekend, kind of like a 4th of July celebration. It was nice. It's been a while since I've been to theme parks. Don't have to wear a mask anymore, so you can actually breathe when it's like 85, 90 degrees out. And yeah, it was good. Just people having fun, roller coasters, theme park rides, a bunch of shitty overpriced food. It was good. It was a sense of
gets right there, man.
Yeah, sense of normalcy, which is much needed these days. But yeah, we had a great time.
And just back to you for a second. So you had some nice news, I guess, this morning regarding some finances.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's probably heard me talking about it for a while now, but finally had the funds deposited for one of my rental properties this morning. So got that deposited and then wired over a significant portion of it to Coinbase and just transfer that to USDC, and it's ready to go. I'm gonna figure out some limit orders today, actually.
So you're playing with Matcha?
Yep, playing with Matcha and see how frisky I want to get and see where the price goes over the next day or two. See if Richard holds out on releasing the news of Pulse Chain launch or not. Or sacrifice phase.
Sacrifice, yeah. And how are you doing, Pep? You're a little up the coast for me, but pretty much same conditions and whatnot. How you been doing with this whole thing and just in general?
I'm just rolling with it, man. I ate a whole pizza about an hour and a half. I just kind of, eased into it, and then I said, all right, I'm just going to clean this thing up. So, you know how it is. Now I'm just really lethargic. So I'm storm ready. That's my storm prep. Pizza and beer is my prep.
Pizza and beer. That's kind of what I do also with blizzards as well.
Typical Florida man hurricane prep.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess this is children's like no market by Motley. Come on.
Yes. Sorry, I know how to use market or limit orders, so I utilize them when I can.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that also harkens over to Richard's tweet. I guess he just tweeted, within the hour or so, but it was like that huge, massive order last night. I'll look for it. But yeah, I mean,
it was about I don't know, 14 million or almost. I think in total there was almost like 20 to 30 million sold within like an hour or so, and we didn't even see a 1 cent dip in price.
Yeah, someone market sold 21 million in a single market order today. They used 1 inch and got that was the first tweet. Got
and see, that's the thing though, right? You could set limit orders, not affect the price at all, and experience zero slippage. And just I don't understand the impatience of some people when it comes to this selling 21 million HEX in a single market sell. It's just stupid in my opinion.
People get trigger happy.
Yep.
They see that money. They talk diamond hands, and then they see that money, and they can't resist. They look at it all day and night. Yeah. And then they regret it when HEX hits 50 cents a dollar down the road.
And I think it's a lack of knowledge too. I've had a lot of Hexicans hit me up asking about how to set limit orders and how they work and all that stuff. So I was thinking about doing a video on that. I haven't seen too much on limit orders, but I think a lot of Hexicans don't even know how to set them or never played around in Matcha. And I mean, you can sell as much HEX as you want and never really affect the price as long as you set it correctly. So it's good skill for Hexicans to start learning so they can be better whales, better caretakers of the price.
Yeah, Johnny Chaos sums it up. They don't know what they are doing, and they don't watch us. Most likely.
True. They just don't care.
But yes, Motley got his house money.
Yeah, what's up, bud?
But the other part of this tweet was he did a self-reply, and he's like, actually, he used the swap built into MetaMask and paid like over 15 grand for sending them the order to 1 inch for him. Yeah.
Oh god, the MetaMask swap is awful on
Yeah,
That's the worst interface. Yeah.
What the? That's bad. that's really bad. That's about the worst interface, the worst aggregator you could use in the market right now is that MetaMask swap. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I've used it a lot.
Yeah. Your Excellence says Overwatch was saying in the chat this morning that sell was deliberate, which it felt weird.
Yeah,
One for
everything
the,
about that seems weird.
Yeah, one for the amount, and really, like, it was eaten. Like, but that amount would have. Well, I guess we're at a higher price now too, but yeah, you got that amount. Say when we were, lower prices, and that thing would just tank the price like hard.
Your Excellence, did he elaborate, or do you know, Cabana? Did he elaborate on what he meant by it was deliberate from some whale he knows or something? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out like the strategy. Just throw that out there. Any ideas, Pep, or like I don't really get it, but Johnny Chaos
strategy. I don't think there was one. I think somebody just got trigger happy. $1 million is a lot of money,
Yeah.
So that kind of behavior, maybe they got spooked on something because crypto, it's that high risk asset. So when you have that much money on the table, it's easy for everybody to sit there and say, just hold, but it depends on their life situation. They may say, screw it, I'll just take the risk. I think we're going to see a lot more of that type of behavior going into the 50% timelines for a lot of these big holders too. Because if the price continues to go up, then they'll pull the trigger, EES, a bunch of stuff, big payday and everything, to do a trigger happy market dump. And then Richard's called it before. He said people that have been in his last stream, not this recent short one, but the prior one, about dumping at 10 cents or wherever. And he says, okay, we'll buy it back at $1, buy it back at $2. And they do. They do it all the time. So I don't know if that was the motivation here or that 21 million was any kind of significant number. But they maybe just had, driven themselves nuts with anxiety. To pull the trigger on it.
I like Johnny's and now Tony's free claim, and so that's
probably was him.
Yeah, so that's actually a thing we've seen a lot recently. I know John Wick has been following it. There's a lot of old BTC claims that have been bleeding out for a while now that are fairly substantial, and everyone's just been kind of monitoring the stacks. And I know a couple of them have kind of woken up, and a lot of them have just gone ahead and sold. So that could very well be a Bitcoin free claim for sure. I haven't actually gone and looked at the address or anything yet.
Yeah, just real quick, Children of the Grave, you're asking about the verifying your staker app. So if you send ETH, that amount that was like 0.003 ETH to that address, and it's pretty much like the signature, like your Bitcoin free claim, fairly similar, but not really. Just get the transaction hash, copy that, and then put it in your staker app, and that should verify your wallet. But you have, like, when you send that ETH to get your wallet, you'll get a verification.
Just copy the URL and the Etherscan. That's it.
And that it's that ETH address or whatever it is, and then just copy and paste that in there, and then you're good. Your Excellence was like, hey, it was a gameplay for Pulse Chain. He did not elaborate any further. He nuked a stake for it. So I'm still like, this just is mystifying to me. Like, what kind of play? Like, are you like trying to?
Maybe he wasn't ready for us to break through all-time highs yet. We're just gonna sit here and consolidate some more.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I just had Dustin's reply of, he's like, I remember the first time I had money in regards to just selling, and taking it as.
Dustin likes to remind us he was rich before HEX a lot.
Yes.
And not so discreet ways.
Yes, getting cars for the wives and things like that. And I think he's got the golf sim now too, if I saw that right. So that's pretty.
The what?
He's like got a golf simulator or something.
Oh yeah, he's got, or I think he showed like a 3D render. I don't know if they're gonna. I know he's been custom building their house for a while, so that's probably something he's adding to it, which is
that'll do it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pistons like the seller needed a yacht to leave Florida fast. LOL. It's funny, but it's not that bad.
That's not how I want to leave Florida in a hurricane.
Any of these big sales we've seen over the past weeks, we've been recovering quickly. Nothing's really brought us down and had us lingering there. Market drives us down more than anything. When there's a lot of FUD in the crypto space is when we struggle the most, and we still weather the storm better than pretty much everyone else. So, look at the rest of the space. It's not doing that great.
Yeah, it's
when we have sales like this, we still bounce back.
They're still like 40, 50% down.
Yeah.
HEX Toshi's like, maybe the 21 million was a tribute to BTC.
And I mean, look at it now. We're already seeing delays in EIP 1559. So, so it's looking like beginning of August, and who knows if that's even going to go through or not. So much for it being in July.
Yeah, so that's another topic I wanted to bring up. And we touched on this on Friday's show, but since Pep is with us, you have plenty of knowledge of traditional markets and whatnot, but traditional crypto market overall, I mean, we kind of just keep bouncing with Bitcoin between 30 and 40K. Do you think, just opinion, speculation, or whatever, that the Pulse chain sacrifice and launch, do you think that's being waited on for market conditions or timed around this Ethereum thing going live? Because I could see either one really being a valid, point to try to do it, for game theory and all sorts of purposes, really, marketing.
Or the third reason, it's just not ready yet.
Well, in that case, Richard was kind of fibbing. So yeah.
His latest stream, he said there was just a few minor web tweaks, trivial stuff to fix. So if it's not launched by Friday, then my opinion is it's purposely being delayed for another reason. What that is could be a lot of things. Could be what you talk about, Cabana. Could be other stuff too, with just the timelines he has in mind for everything. So, but I don't think we're going to know. He's not going to tell us.
Never know
if there is anything. But I would hope. Well, he did say in his last stream it'll be less than 2 weeks. So I'll give him that timeline. 2 weeks if it's not launched. Then okay, either there was a big glitch that came up, or there's just a delay for another reason, another motive.
Well, that's the funny thing too, is we find ourselves in the situation all back from like over a month ago, where it was just like, hey guys, it's taking place in 7 days, less than 7 days, and now we're here. So you never know. Like Big K said, something could come up. I mean, it still is in testnet. If there is a big enough bug that sets them back, then there you go, right back.
And software is notorious for this. I mean, any application, it never launches right on time. There's always delays. Anything that comes out too fast is rife with problems. And with blockchain, especially this project, I don't think he can afford any kind of glitches. So we've all been saying for a while too, I think, that we'd rather it be late and right than soon and error prone, having issues. But I'm tired of waiting too, like everybody else. It's like, let's just get this shit over with. At least get the sacrifice phase going.
It might be shortened with all these delays. He might go the shorter route.
He was suggesting 2 weeks plus 3 days.
Yeah.
So I guess 3 days pre-bonding curve. I'm fine with that. I think this less is better.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Honestly, 3 days plus the 2 weeks after the volume phase.
Yeah, he's been hinting and suggesting that for the past couple streams, I think. So yeah, I think that would be in the cards.
This? Overwatch was speculating on a 3x bonus for early and large, something about turning 1 million USD into 1 billion USD, and US plebfish wouldn't get it.
Us plebfish.
Us plebfish.
Sends donation straight.
Love Overwatch.
Okay.
I mean, I hope there's a 3x bonus tier. That would be amazing. That's pretty substantial. Yeah. I didn't think it would be. I mean, I bet Overwatch would like a 3x bonus tier because he has the funds to hit that.
Yeah, but, probably one of the only people. Yeah.
But I don't know if that's necessarily just an Overwatch thing, or if that's something that's actually seriously being considered. But 3x seems very substantial to me. for any tier, regardless of how much money you bring to the table.
Yeah. Biffness, man, tell the hurricane to slow down so I can catch a hell. I'm leaving Houston. We'll be in Tampa tomorrow night. You're gonna miss it, bro. But I'll be in the area for a couple days if you wanna hit me up. Pep and I are trying to get together as well, so that'll be cool. Game 5, Bolts in 5. That's all I'm saying. So Let's go. What's the guy saying? Can you tell Motley to check Staker app and he can discuss with you all? What? Was that in reference to the walkthrough on the hash? Because I mean, it's fairly simple if that's what you're saying.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
Yeah, it might be. The only thing I can think of was reference to children's question about the Telegram. Yeah. Okay. So get your stuff straight, guy. He sent it to you in Telegram, whatever that was.
Okay.
So, yeah. Johnny's like, as we get closer to December, those free claims are going to dry up. Most free claims were not at all interested in HEX. Yep, just looking for freebies to get more BTC. Yeah, to each their own, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy dumped what $300,000 worth a few months ago. Some BTC free claimer. It was popped back up real quick.
Yeah. Any let's see. Yes, less time is better, Big Pep. That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
What else do we have in here? Yeah, so T-Bird's like, it's been interesting to notice lately that I've been climbing up the squid rank for the first time without doing anything. Yeah, and there was like a big the usual glitch where like so many addresses happened, I guess, a couple days ago, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I moved way up in the rankings, and it was just like, I think we all need to calm down because we've seen this before, and then usually gets fixed, whatever it is.
But there has been a lot of shifting in the rankings. If you're like towards like the lower tier of your sea creature ranking, there's a lot more shifting of the positions, especially as more people let their stakes go liquid or stay liquid instead of restaking. There's been some substantial changes. Like I think Papa B said this morning that he's jumped somewhere between like 15 and 20 positions in his ranking, like legitimately. So there is shifting of the rankings right now. But yeah, the one earlier was definitely a glitch. When you move up like 100, 200, yeah. It's probably a glitch. What's up, Corey?
Corey, what's up, man? So the other thing I just had on the brief list here, just for chat, is our good old concern troll friend Chris Bleh, who tweets out these funny little things and says he's blocking HEX, but then he purposely tries to engage the community by putting a video clip of Richard Hart talk about the sack phase, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like the ETH. Where does the ETH go FUD all over again? It's like, come on, man. So thankfully, like so many Hexkins are just trained to respond rapidly right now. And all I'm seeing are tweets of, oh, if I buy a movie ticket, where's my fiat go? Oh, I just bought this. Where does that money go? And
for the record, I called out this dipshit the day after he interviewed Richard. And sadly, YouTube deleted my channel, or I'd reference that list. I did.
Good.
I did the day after.
Yeah. I just don't like him. I just really don't.
He's a dodgy dude, man. He's insincere.
Yeah. He's one that preaches that he's here to save people and stuff, but then he's concerned about where people's money goes and doesn't like. Everything about what he preaches is just so conflicting. Like he loves. So his biggest problem with HEX is the OA, the origin address, which he deems in his head as Richard, so he's making the assumption that he knows where that money went. And even so, if it was, he thinks that's HEX's limiting factor because it can be rugged at any time because Richard owns too much of the supply in his head. But at the same token, he praises, he sucks fucking Uniswap's dick. And Uniswap owns 85% of the tokens. They own 85% of the supply, almost exactly what the OA owns of HEX. And look how well. And it's funny because in his warped sense of mind, he doesn't realize that, like Richard said, you need that central entity to actually guide these projects, just like in the traditional finance with Amazon, Facebook, Google, all these big companies. You need that centralization to be successful, and that's that last little piece that he's missing. But he has no problem with it when it's Uniswap and the VCs and the developers and their treasury owns 85%. But when the OA, when it might be Richard owns it, then he has a problem with it all of a sudden. So I hate the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy drives me up the wall, and I rarely forgive people for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like the transparency thing, and then like you have Richard being like answering the questions like, you know, what happens, and it's not like he's not, you know, saying this is going to go here. It's just none of your business. Like, and that's all you need to know. That's it.
And if we just stay in the crypto space, then why isn't he, you know, investigating and spending his career hunting down Satoshi? Why is he okay with that? Why is he okay with everybody else that has a huge wallet in Bitcoin, ETH, or anything else? Okay, maybe Vitalik discloses, well, you assume he discloses what he has, or anybody in crypto, because you really don't know. You know, they could have multiple wallets and all that. But even if the OA, so what? Would you rather have a Richard Hart, or would you rather have Chris Black be the OA? Because if Chris Black was the OA, you just dump on your head. You know, somebody like Richard wouldn't, right? So it's just like Jeff Bezos with Amazon. He could dump on Amazon. The biggest risk they had even with that was when he got divorced. They're worried his ex-wife might dump her stock. You know, but yeah, this argument's always been made, and it's really just aimed more at they don't like Richard, and they're, you know, it breeds animosity. Somebody in Richard's position is gonna have a lot of enemies because he's young and successful, and of course he's there you go right there, DeFi cop. You know, it's just that and guys like this guy's kind of like that, or the reporter in Die Hard. You know, it's just that type of two-faced mentality, all about trying to get attention and his own name recognized as some kind of
under the guise of just trying to help people. You know, it's just.
Well, they always are. Shepard Smith on CNBC is the same way. He doesn't give a shit about anybody that he's stepping on, but he acts like he's helping them up.
Good old Shep. That's a name from the past. The old Fox News days. Yeah.
Literally everything that Chris Black wants is staring him in the face with HEX, and he just, for whatever reason, he fails to be able to see it, to recognize it. I just don't know. I don't see it in my eyes. It's like when Richard was talking about a long time ago, where there's just some people that are too, and I don't even want to give them this much credit, but there's just some people that are too smart for their own good, and like the fact that they think they're so intelligent just causes them to miss out on these opportunities. And like, so Chris Black, he always bitches about not having the money and all this stuff to pursue all the stuff he wants, because, you know, he sits there and he whines and he complains about all these different things, but he's one of those people that never comes up with a solution, doesn't work to build something and fix the problems. He'll just sit there and bitch and bitch and bitch, and it's just the same old shit over and over again. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have the funding, I don't have the finance. Like, you already missed out on your opportunity with HEX.
Right.
You like Richard. You know how intelligent he is. I don't care if you like HEX or not. You can see the damn chart. You can see how well everyone's done. Maybe you should take a chance on Pulse Chain, but instead he tweets out some dumb shit like he just did today, which is like, I can't believe you guys are gonna fall for this scam again. It's like you're retarded, dude. Like I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like you're an idiot. You really are.
I wonder how many people in HEX actually even heard of Chris Black before he interviewed Richard, because I never even heard of him.
No, I didn't either.
You know, if he hadn't interviewed Richard, I'd never know who this guy is. So he's not some kind of icon in the industry. He's just some freaking dipshit. Right.
And that's like
who should be thanking Richard for giving him some publicity.
Exactly. 100%. That's the whole clout chasing thing that Richard always talks about. It's punch up, punch down, and he punched up, you know, Richard, I guess, and Richard, took him on, but now he's got the most engagement that he's ever had because of our awesome community. And it's like, okay, so your excellence, I see your point. Giving him this airtime is a waste of breath and screen time. This is not a waste of screen time. This is actually wonderful. Hexo tweeted this earlier. So
yeah, like it's ironic too, right? Because like he literally just like, he put out, this all started with him posting just like, I'm gonna mute HEX and mute Pulse Chain and everything right now. And funny thing is, when that ends up being the case, that seems to be all he wants to talk about. And like, all his other engagements are like 1 or 2 comments, 1 or 2 likes, and like this is like his only engagement. So like the guy just seems just thirsty for it. Like at this point, like I feel like he's just so desperate for recognition and just acceptance. Like the only place he can really find that is just trolling the Hex community at this point.
Yeah, because it's guaranteed engagement because we're always all over the place, and you're going to get somebody to respond. So you can't control everybody, which whatever. Most of the Hexagon community is educated enough now to where you don't sound like a total full trying something or anything like that. Most squids or those lower levels get it and can they've gotten good at carrying on conversations, which is great. All right, well, let's talk about something more fun. So T-Share Master says, going to have major separation anxiety when my Hex sack bag gets sacked. Say that 6 times fast.
We all are.
Yep.
So I'll just throw it to you first, Pep. Are you set with your sacrifice position? You're just like in the waiting game kind of thing? Are you waiting on funds like Motley just got today? Or are you just like good to go? Let's get this started already.
Man. I'm locked and loaded.
Yeah.
I'm getting trigger happy. Somebody starts to walk in front of the sites, man, it's going to go off. I'm just, I've had my strategy planned. The only thing I can do is maybe add to my position as time goes on and as other funds come in.
Yeah.
But I've already got my mindset ready. I've already know my strategy, how I want to do it. And, unless the only thing that would change that is if something external impacts that, but I don't foresee it at this point.
And Motley, you are good now that your big phones have been wired, or you're always going to be looking.
I was about to say, like, I honestly had more funds ready to go from the rip. This is just more fodder to add to it. I pretty much have a USD value that I'm interested in sacrificing. As of now, I'm sticking to that. And I'm hoping I can essentially expend less and less Hex during the sacrifice phase to achieve that. So that's my main goal. Essentially, come away with the USD value that I want in Pulse sacrifice, and do that by sacrificing as little Hex as possible. So that's my ultimate goal, essentially, what it comes down to. Because as much as I love Pulse and I love this ecosystem we're building and everything, it's just Hex will always be the #1 asset in my eyes, and I think Pulse will do very well. I think there'll be periods of pumping and selling off, but Hex is ultimately gonna be the #1 cryptocurrency. So if I can acquire Pulse and do that with as small amount of my Hex bag as possible, then that's my goal.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been saying for a couple of weeks. It's like, you want to be, I would think, as a Hexagon, a part of this, at least have a taste of it. Because you've already experienced, you are part of the best community of crypto. You get so much content and information and know everywhere to follow already. If not, you're learning how and where to do that. But for Pulse, I don't think it's going to be any different. You're going to have up to the minute anything live streams. It's going to be all over Discourse Syndicate Network. It's going to be everywhere, and Twitter, and questions, answers, Telegram chat. So yeah, I think it's just something that you at least would want a little taste of to be a part of it. I'm like Motley, like you don't want to get rid of all the golden eggs from your goose, which is Hex. So I guard them closely, but yeah, I do have like a nice little stack that I want to be involved in Pulse. So where are we at?
And it's just, it's going to be cool because just like you have all the Ethereum whales, now you're going to have all these big Pulse whales, except they're all going to be like true-blooded hexagons, which is going to be pretty fun to watch. See how the ecosystem reacts in the Pulse chain as opposed to ETH. So it'll be interesting to see.
So do you think there's going to be anybody waiting to go in the bonding curve, or is everybody that's locked and loaded going all in the first 3 days?
See, that's the golden question right there, and that's
depends on the bonus tiers.
Yeah.
What marks you have to hit, what kind of multiplier you get. If there's a 3x multiplier for 1 million plus, like I'm going to be reaching out to all you guys, and we're gonna make sure we hit 1 million. We're gonna make sure we hit 1 million if there's a 3x multiplier. Jesus, I doubt it'll be that high.
Well, even at 2x, that's just insane to think about.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. So
Yeah.
I was not thinking that high.
Thank you for trolling the chat, Motley. I appreciate that, and so does Pat. So, yeah.
that's my buddy. So I'm gonna make sure I have more pulse than him. So I can't let him outpulse me.
How high you think HEX will go before the sacrifice is over?
Somewhere between 20 and 30 cents, probably.
20, 30? Yeah.
Yeah, I think throughout the sacrifice phase, we probably sit somewhere between like 20 and 25, and then I think we could potentially creep up to 30, pretty much on the anticipation of the announcement of the snapshot. I think there's going to be a lot of people leveraging their money, taking out loans, accumulating HEX that way just for the snapshot, and then I think there will probably be a pretty good sell-off on HEX, just like there was. I think it's going to be like a big payday event come the snapshot, and then there's just going to be that certain point where we just bounce, where everyone decides, okay, it's worth the value to buy the bag back up. So I think we're going to essentially see a big payday event come around the snapshot time.
How about you, Pep? Thoughts on your own question there? I'm like 12.5 to 15 cents, but I'm always like the conservative one here.
I'm thinking 2x. And I'm always kind of conservative on my guesses, on my estimates. I mean, I don't think it doesn't take too much money to get us 2x from here. And I could see 20 cents without much problem. 30 cents, maybe. I still think we'll see a bit of sell-off just because there are some bag holders that'll be just too tempted at that 10 to 20 cent price point. But the other flip side is, and to Molly's point, it really depends on what the incentives are. You know, if you're on the fence about it, which I think anybody, no matter what, mentality you have about this, you're going to want to get into it. So I don't think you're going to want to dump an entire position. And if you see, HEX pumping up, yeah, it might pull back. Wouldn't be shocked at that at all. But a year from now, where will HEX and PHEX be? I still like Richard's assessment of the two sums. Two halves could be worth more than a whole. And long term, I could definitely see that. But to the price points, I think at 20 to 25 cents maybe at a peak.
And to a point that you just said, Big Pep, this actually came up on Twitter. I think it was Gold Key on Twitter, but we've discussed this point in the back. Like the PHEX, EHEX thing, it's kind of confusing and takes away from the HEX brand. We're talking about maybe start pushing the narrative of just like, hey, Ethereum HEX is HEX. And then we're just going to have a new version of HEX, which will be PHEX, because HEX is such a good brand. It almost hurts to like essentially discard both of it by calling both of them one EHEX, one PHEX, and it just kind of like kills everything. So I think a cool thing moving forward is a lot of us just start calling regular Ethereum HEX, and then, hey, we're going to have a new version of HEX, and it's going to be called PHEX on the Pulse chain. And then
it literally is the same contract, just in a different ecosystem. That's all.
And I think that's what you're also talking to, Big Pep. Like as time goes on, I think they're both going to be very valuable. And I really do think we see if they don't reach parity, it'll be close, because it'll really just, it's not about the HEX. It comes down to the T-share, the price of the T-share. And people are going to go to where the better deal is eventually, because HEX still works the same. It's still money printers on both chains. And I think that's ultimately what's going to help them both do very well and maintain very high value, or if not very similar values. It's just going to be people are going to migrate back and forth where they can get the better deal on the T-share, not necessarily the HEX.
Yeah, and way to lead the conversation, Motley, because I was going to bring that topic up. So yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, I'm totally down with that too. I think we're all in agreement here, and I hope it goes that way, because you spot on, man. HEX brand, HEX domain, it's all already built. So why, dilute it, with, different terminologies and whatnot, and bastardize it, just, call the main one what it's always been called. And then, we can go from there. Thoughts from Hextoshi, how much USD in the first 3 sacrifice days? I say $1 billion. Well, actually, Gerardo had a interesting video about the volume, and that, I mean, there's, if it's a poll, and who knows if how many people are telling the truth in this thing. But I encourage people to go watch it. It was like a few days ago, I think, but it was just
a lot.
Yeah, it was
lot.
like 100. I don't even want to say because I'll get it wrong. But it was
just go watch this video. Go to Gerardo's channel and check it out. It was good. Yeah. It was a very good video.
Yeah, he breaks it down and just does the math, a Big Pep-esque spreadsheet of possible, sacrifice amounts and what could go into it.
Yeah, I watched Gerardo. I like him.
Yeah. So I just thought, I don't know, for the first 3 days. Huh.
It's gonna be a lot of money.
Yeah.
All the big players and whales, if they're interested in Pulse, that's when they move in. So
yeah.
Time to whale watch. Silver's going to be in there. Gunther's going to be in there. All the guys that are all up in everyone's ETH addresses will be watching. I'll be watching the big accounts as well.
Lucky Logan.
Yeah, well, 1 billion, I don't know. That's what I mean. I'd be glad to see it, but that just seems a little pie in the sky to me.
Yeah, I don't think USD.
Million. No, yeah. I don't see it.
No.
Maybe over the entire sacrifice phase. We'll see that. The first 3 days, I don't know. Like you said, it depends how honest people are with what they're really saying they're going to do. Right. So that'll really determine that. But I think in the hundreds of millions won't be a problem. That we won't break a sweat passing that 100 or 200 million mark.
No, hexagons alone can pretty much supply that economic mass.
Yeah.
Limon has a plan.
Good job, Limon.
Sacking on his liquid and buying the dip. Okay. Good luck with that.
There you go.
Good luck with that. HEX Monkey, same brand of gourmet food available in 2 grocery stores that have their own sourcing and pricing. See, I love analogies for explaining things, and that's
a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got? Yeah. Yeah, guys, in agreement with you. We're not calling ADA, E-ADA, P-ADA, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Just call it HEX and then call the new version P-HEX or whatever you want to call it.
Does anyone know if the Staker app's going to be updated with? Is there going to be 2 pages, like for each chain, or?
It's going to have them both. I don't know the.
Steph said it's going to obviously be there. I imagine it's probably going to be just like how the MetaMask is going to be set up, just like you'll have to toggle back and forth between a different network. I think they might have it set up as just a toggle switch where maybe you can go back and forth between HEX and P-HEX or something like that. HEX on Pulse chain, yeah. HEX on Ethereum. Some sort of little toggle you can just do in Staker. It'd probably be the easiest way for them. Best chain.
I mean, I kind of see what you're saying, Cassius, but
it's yet to be determined, right? Like, yeah. yes, it benefits how HEX functions and everything like that. It's designed for HEX, but at the same time, at the end of the day, the markets decide which is going to be the most valuable, even if it's for the short term. Like I said, long term, I hope they do reach some sort of parity, but the market's going to decide which is going to be more valuable. Like, how much economic mass can you bring to the table as compared to Genesis Whale? What if Genesis Whale says, I'm not touching fucking Pulse, I'm going to just keep my original HEX on Ethereum and I'm just going to safeguard that, and that's where I'm going to put my weight behind. Like, it's going to take a lot of you to even come close. I mean, probably most of us can't even come close combined to what one Genesis Whale can do. And then on top of that, just to put it in scale, the OA could come in there and just overrule the Genesis Whale, because even the OA has more economic mass than the Genesis Whale does. So it just puts it all into perspective. It's just the market will decide.
There you go. The market is always right.
Yeah. So don't go crazy with you think you know which one's going to be the right HEX and sell your other bag like some people I know in the community. HEX line. I would recommend that you just hold both for now. I think that's the best play.
Yes, doubling your bags is insane, and I think we touched on Friday's stream. Like, it's also like sacrificing HEX. You're reducing the supply on both chains as well. So it's like it's a multiplier effect of the multiplier in a sense. So it's man, if we all pull this off, like, we're all talking and we understand it, not, us, but the overall community with the masses of HEX that could get sacrificed, the supply could, drop quite a little bit there. We had Freddie Quotes, he just said, "What's up?" But he, 2 weeks ago, Motley, I think it's when you were running around in Vegas with your phone, but he was talking like the galaxy brain kind of thing. And it's like, okay, well, what happens, what would happen if all these sacked coins, ended up backing the price of HEX as in terms of like a fantasy kind of thing?
What do you mean?
Just in like, because Richard is flat out say he's like, the coins don't get burned or whatever. If anything that you sacrifice that's non-HEX. Mm-hmm. So, say like 100 BTC gets sacrificed over.
Oh, and then it gets used to buy up the supply.
It was just a fantasy floating thing.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm sure the supply is going to be liquidated enough already just via the sacrifice phase. I think it's beautifully designed where it's just all the liquid HEX that we have on the market. It's a good way to just give it a good clean sweep, and then HEX becomes even that much more scarce, and some similar OA entity probably gets that few more percent of the HEX supply that hasn't sold a single HEX. So that alone is a win-win. If that entity decides to use all the other coins that get sacrificed and buy more HEX, cool. I'm down for it. I'm not gonna have any expectations of that, but
that's right.
That'd be cool to see.
That'd be a fantasy for sure.
Yep. That might show, if you could link those accounts back though, then that would obviously show like bias. And I think again, Richard's trying to play this one a little bit more politically correct this go around. So I think he would avoid, or the entity would avoid moves that might make it look biased to a certain coin. So
I mean, you could do swaps all the ETH and then tornado it, and
I mean, of course, of course.
I think whatever they do, it's safe to say it'll be beneficial for the ecosystem, the project as a whole.
And guess what the ecosystem was designed for? HEX.
Yep. I'm interested to see what kind of attention this brings to, of course, Pulse in itself, but HEX too, because it might draw a lot of attention, especially when Pulse takes off and starts to function smoothly and it resolves these gas problems. Also, when ETH gas spikes up again, we know those days are coming. It's down a bit now, but it won't be much before that starts going back to those old all-time highs.
Yep.
And then people will really start embracing and building on Pulse, what new projects might be built there. But all that would bring attention indirectly to HEX. So there's a lot of people still don't know about HEX, or that are interested in getting in. That's going to open up doors for all those kind of that pre-viral theme that a lot of people have been talking about, for that narrative, which is true as well. So it could be a convergence of a whole bunch of things that just kind of get all these things running like crazy.
Yeah, Pulse is, it's a shame what comes after HEXFUD. What comes after HEXFUD is gone. It would have been great to see those guys trying to understand 2 instances of HEX. Yeah, that's too much of a headache to.
I mean, the HEXFUD's never going to be gone, right?
No, never truly gone.
Unfortunately, we're going to see probably a revitalized wave of FUD. Honestly, just coming via this, like, again. So we're going to fork Ethereum. There's going to be people that don't like that. We're going to have 2 versions of HEX. Let's say our beautiful chart on the original HEX on the Ethereum chain starts to, let's say it has a drastic drop after the snapshot, right? Which is a very strong possibility. You know how many of our haters are going to come out of the woodworks? So like, see, I told you it's a scam, like rug pull. Like all they see is just it's going to be a sharp drop, like Big Payday or something like that. So like, it's just going to come, right? Or like, see, Richard's just coming up with a new version of HEX and he's abandoning the old one. He couldn't supply the Ponzi scheme anymore. Like it's coming. It's just going to be a whole new waves of FUD that we're just going to have to fight again, and not looking forward to it, but it's coming. So don't worry, the FUD will not be gone. It'll come back more than ever. HEX haters are just in the wings waiting for the next 15 years, evidently. That's the new thing I see with all of them. They're like, I think HEX is going to be the biggest like rug pull in the next 5 to 10 years. So I was like, oh, that's y'all's timeline. I was like, okay, cool.
Pretty broad.
Yeah, I was like, all right, so potentially the length of Bitcoin's existence is your idea of how long HEX's rug pull is. So I was like, got it.
You know what, Molly? Sorry, Cabana, but the other thing to that is you're right in the fact that the FUD won't go away, but it's going to be amplified worse now because most people's bags are wrecked. Most people are sitting at best on a flat, price for months now of a coin, waiting for a move. And then they're going to see something like this take off, and they're going to get more frustrated because they're holding the bag of dead weight, shit, and they're calling our stuff garbage, but we're all, making mad gains. So that again, it's that the loser syndrome. And it gets people hostile.
Yeah, they'll lash out even more so, for sure. So expect it. Be ready. It's coming.
Yeah. I hate specific price questions, but this is, I guess, more of a dollar amount question, which, we don't do that kind of financial advice here. But this is actually, it came through like right before we started this stream. It was a comment on one of our previous happy hours. It's from a commenter named JT. Hey guys, appreciate the video. Do you guys think a 10K, I'm guessing USD investment, is good enough, for excellent gains on day one sacrifice of Pulse Chain? I know everyone says invest what you can lose, but just trying to aim for a good amount. I mean, if you're kind of going hero or zero there for me, because you're just banking on, all of day one. Well, what if price of HEX goes up, or if you make one single bet in one shot, doesn't matter if it's crypto or traditional markets, you are betting that you are buying the low pretty much, and the price will never go below or not much further below what you're buying it for. And then you're out of powder. So what happens if the price goes lower? What happens if you get a better deal on whatever asset that you're looking at? So first of all, if it were me, I would not just go all in on one day or one 30-minute block. I would probably maybe spread that out a little bit. Not trying to, walk on anybody else's toes here, but any other.
I can answer that with a question.
Yes.
I'll answer a question with a question. Is 100x? Would you be happy with 100x on that amount? Because 100x isn't that bad and isn't that hard to come by in crypto. I mean, HEX did 1,000 plus X already. I'm going to pull it back and say, let's just say 100x over time. And to your point, Cabana, yeah, there's times that 10K investment might be worth less if there's a big dip, especially in the volatile stages, usually in the early phases. But anybody that held HEX, I made a point like this on my show the other day. I said, look, people were crying during the adoption amplifier, bought too high. If you put all of your money, one purchase on the bubble of the AA phase, how you feeling about that today? You're still doing pretty damn well.
Very well.
Right? You're still up significantly. So it's all about your time horizon. So if you're willing to hold for the multiple gains or the multiples that we all look for in crypto, and that's why we're all here. We're not here for 4 and 8 and 10% gains. We want multiples of X, double, triple, quadruple digits, and you can get it in crypto. So my answer, long-winded answer to that question is, would you be happy with 100x? How many X would you need to have to feel good about that position?
And what kind of person are you too, right? Because Pulse is going to be lacking a crucial tool that HEX has when it comes to holding the locking feature. Like it actually saves you from yourself, right? Like we were able to experience over almost like 2000x because a lot of our stuff was locked. A lot of us would have sold some portion of our bag along the ride up, probably to take profits and all the other standardized stuff we've been used to, but HEX provided you that mechanism that kind of changed your thought process and delay gratification. It makes it easier, right? When it's just code and there's harsh penalties. Pulse will not have that. So you have to be a lot more disciplined to probably realize that next 100x, 1000x, 2000x, because you're going to have to hold for the next year, 2 years, what have you, next cycle. and you're not going to have that locking feature. So it's got to be discipline from you to actually achieve those gains. So are you up for the task, or are you going to fold at the next like 5-10x and then miss out on what you were asking for, those life-changing gains, and you have no one else to blame but yourself, just because you weren't able to hold like you're supposed to. Like Richard said, people that get rich in crypto are holders and founders. That's it.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point, Molly. One thing to add on that, though, is you're right. You can't lock it up, but the flip side, Pulse is deflationary.
Yep.
So, and you can delegate if you want to just kind of get it out of your hands to keep it off the, the table, so you're not tempted. But if you do, that longer time horizon would likely be, you're going to at least have a reduced supply 5 years from now, as the fees start to get more expensive and burn more of that away.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'll be curious with the delegation of stakes, if there's going to be, I imagine there'll probably be some sort of short-term locking features, so people aren't just like delegating their stake, yanking it out, giving it to another validator, yanking it out, going back and forth. I wonder if there's going to be at least some sort of like short period locking mechanism, or maybe more rewards if you delegate for longer periods of time, or some sort of game theory like that. To keep you actually keeping your Pulse delegated, keeping it essentially, like you said, kind of out of your hands, and just so you can realize those gains and depreciation or deflation of the actual Pulse tokens.
Esteban 5555. Do you think the OA is, and this has come up many times, but have Pep here. Do you think the OA is going to sacrifice HEX for Pulse?
I think the OA will behave the same way it did in the adoption amplifier, if need be. I think here's I'll answer that. If you think you're going to be on a slow day in the bonding curve, and you're going to be the only guy to contribute and get the whole bag, don't count on it. That's how I would answer that. Yeah.
The OA acts in the betterment of the overall system. If the OA deems that being the largest holder of Pulse, I imagine it's going to be the largest holder of Pulse, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. And I'm okay with that. I have a feeling it's not going to sell. So,
Corey, an investor, he's in HEX, so he's got the long-term mind. I'm keeping Pulse locked away until 2024, the year of the next halving. 2025 is going to be galactic. So, I mean, hey, man, if you can hold on to that long, I think you're going to do well in both, no matter what. But we'll see. No true market predictions there. Yeah, a little slight Cabana Pep rally, just creeping up here. I think we're just hanging out below like a dime, just waiting impatiently, some of us. But let's see. I had some notes here. Oh, yeah. So I think in one of your points there, Pep, you brought up like use case and argument. I'm seeing this more from traditional finance guys that are getting into crypto now, and they whip out this use case narrative, which drives me insane, because they talk about use case, one example, Raw Powell, when it comes to HEX and why he's not really interested in it, but yet he'll interview Charles car salesman about something that has been in development for years and years and years and years, and just about ideas and white papers. And it's like, this is a finished product. What? I guess my question is what's a good answer for like this growing? I see it as use case, FUD from traditional market commentators, because it's just like, oh, okay, well, we know about HEX now because it's in the top 10, but what's its use case? It's like, okay, is that really all you have now? Because time locking money is a use case to me, and it's probably one of the best things out there. Not HEX, but just the concept, and HEX does it the absolute best.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly, it's by design. It's to model that certificate of deposit in the bank. It's the same use case as that. The only difference is you run the contract code. There's no banker. There's no middleman. There's no infrastructure to support. Wells Fargo and Bank of America and Schwab and everybody else, they all have these billions of dollars of overhead that they have to charge fees for to support. HEX, it's you and the code. That's really it. So the use case is the same without all the middlemen. That's why I look at it. Now, you could make the argument, somebody could back and say, well, yeah, but the CD is a US dollar, and that's, again, it's not even backed by gold anymore. We all know that. But you're like, okay, you got the country's GDP and blah, blah, blah. What's backing HEX? Well, it's crypto. So it is ultra high risk. Yes, HEX can go, drop 80%, and it can go up 10,000%. And that's why you get into crypto, and that's that. But the use case, and regardless of the price, the use case is you just get more, earn interest for time commitments on your money.
Yeah.
That's it. And if that's not good enough, then maybe HEX isn't for you. I don't even hard sell it beyond that. It's like, if you don't want that and you want to buy somebody's white paper, man, there's plenty of those. Go have at it.
And it's like, it's the art of the sell, right? It's like these crypto influencers, and I think T-Dot nails it here. He's like, crypto plebs like to buy the coins that talk about progress rather than actually use the ones that are progress. And this is like your Chicos and your Bat Boys and things like that, just try to cover the newest, hottest thing and get the views and, get the sponsorships and stuff like that, where it's like, guys, over here, we're good. We're done.
Sorry, Molly, just one thing to interject real quick. The people that talk like that, Cabana, are the same people that buy Dogecoin, by the way. And where's the use case there? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, nope,
it's
really true.
I mean, it's simple, right? Like, it's what Bitcoin does, except better. Like, I mean, it's not even just Bitcoin. Like, what financial asset on planet Earth do we have right now that has zero overhead, grows your wealth trustlessly? Like Pep said, there's no middleman involved. It's just you and just a code. There's no corruption. There's no overhead fees you have to pay, and your wealth just continues to grow. So it's what they love so much about Bitcoin. It's trustless. It's one of the best stores of value, and you earn yield on that store value just for holding it longer, which is literally the core principles of crypto, how it was supposed to be when it started with Satoshi, everything he wanted. And it just brings it back full circle to what crypto and everything was supposed to be, just giving you financial sovereignty over yourself. And we've lost our way a long time ago in this space, and HEX is that first revolutionary product that's really brought us back on track. And it's gonna take them a long time to realize it, but by that point, they're gonna be like Big Pep said, they're gonna be buying the bags back at $10, $100, and it's just gonna be absolutely insane for all of us that are here right now.
Hextoshi, yeah, the funny thing is the whole use case quote is based on the future price potential. We have skipped all the processes for your investment. Yeah. So if you had 50K worth of liquid HEX, would you sacrifice it all? Well, I would ask to you, how much is that in comparison to all your staked HEX? And, obviously don't type it in there, but, if it's like 90% of all your HEX total, then
nope.
I personally would not do that. But if it's just a small percentage, sure, I don't see any harm in that. But Richard, what's Richard's ratio for liquid? It's like your 2/3.
It was either like 1/3 or 2/3 of your liquid supply sacrifice.
Yeah.
I can't
liquid,
remember which one.
Not
2/3
staked.
of your liquid. Yeah.
Liquid, yes.
Yeah.
I want to clarify that because I think a lot of Hexicans.
I mean, hopefully most everyone here is staked, but yes, and that's the tricky part for the new guys too coming in, right? Because they've heard of Pulse or they heard about HEX recently. A lot of them they can't be as liberal as some of us that have been in here longer with this Pulse sacrifice. Like I have the ability to be more liberal with the Pulse sacrifice because I have a substantial staking ladder in place already. If you're a newer guy or gal coming in the space, you don't have all the rungs of the ladders like I do. So you really have to take a step back and see what's important to you, what you're trying to achieve. But I would definitely say make sure you have your HEX allocations via your HEX stakes in place, or at least a good portion of them, before you start considering how much you're going to allocate to Pulse. But I mean, by all means, this is a chance for you to get it on the ground floor. And I know how special that was to me with HEX. So do it, but make sure you're allocating some stuff to HEX as well, because we're about to see, whether you like it or not, we're about to see HEX do some pretty crazy stuff with the price. So it's a good time to go ahead and get what you can now, as opposed to waiting until later.
Is that a forward-looking statement / price prediction, Motley Investor?
Yes, price go up. Up and to the right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Tony, I know you said liquid, but yeah, it's like, how much liquid do you have? Obviously, don't answer, but it's like, how much of that liquid is that amount that you're sacrificing? Is it everything? Then, obviously, like Richard, has said, if it were him or just an idea, leave at least some liquid, there on the table. EF Hutton, love the name. If the sack phase lasts 17 days, the only question is when the smart money is going in, the first 3 days or the next 14. Well, that depends on a lot of variables and
parameters that we don't know.
Some that we don't know, right?
Yeah.
And plus price and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the biggest thing, just so you guys can just kind of map it out for yourselves, because it's all going to vary based off the individual, right? Like, you really should concern yourself with the volume phase. Once we figure out what the tiers are, how much USD value you have to sacrifice to hit certain tiers of, I'm assuming, some sort of multiplier, you have to see if you're able to hit that tier. If you're not able to hit that tier, it might behoove you to wait a couple days and ride that price appreciation. Yes, that's our word on this channel evidently now. But to ride that wave a little bit and take that HEX appreciation, so you do get more USD value for the sacrifice phase, thus earning yourself more pulse tokens. If you're not going to hit a certain tier in the volume phase, maybe the volume phase is not the best strategy for you. Maybe you hold out a little bit, or like Cabana said, ultimately the best strategy is probably going to be doing some form of DCA, and that's going to hedge all your bets and kind of cover you either way. Is it going to be the most winning strategy? Probably not. But is it going to be the worst strategy? Definitely not. It's going to be that middle of the road kind of play.
Yeah,
but,
like Pep was,
it's based on the individual.
Yeah, like Pep was saying too. It's like, if you just got one of those low days in the AA and you spread it out, you're doing darn good. I mean, so it's like, you spread out the risk and, say, hey, you got, one of those, 30, day 40, whatever it was, one of those low ones at, say the same amount spread out. Looking back now, holy crap, you are so fine.
Which, by the way, my dumbass did not get the lowest all-time lows of the AA, so don't feel bad, guys, people that didn't. And I'm still very happy with the gains. I'm not going to complain. Yep. I would say with the sacrifice phase, and I hear this from people all the time, don't overthink it. Because unless you're a heavy hitter, big whale, then you are not going to move markets, period. Just participate somewhere in, and you won't have regrets. It's just that simple, just like the AA phase. Most people don't know about Pulse. People that, the participation percentage just in the crypto community alone is extremely small. So if you're getting in, you should stand a chance to do quite well with it. Whether you got in, and I'm sure there'll be a post-mortem afterwards like, oh, this was the best day, the best time, the best bag to throw in, and you would have had this much more. Yeah, okay, great. And the people that get that probably don't even know that they're participating at that best point. It's just dumb luck. But if you're in it at all, you come out well ahead. That's the main takeaway, I think. Don't stress yourself out with all these little micro analyst, price points. I mean, a 50 grand bag, that's a pretty sizable bag, even for that comment. But I think a lot of people are maybe going in 5-10 grand.
Yeah, that's a lot of whatever.
Yeah. Throw it in. Maybe spread it out. Be a little bit strategic. But to sit there and do all this, configuration charts and magic math is just it doesn't benefit you at all, because you just don't have enough going in to really make that much of a difference.
I mean, that was a way for a lot of people in HEX even early on, right? Like there's a lot of people that didn't throw in just more than a couple $1,000 or one Bitcoin worth, I think, which was like somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000 at the time. And look how that's literally life-changing money for people now, just from being there in the beginning of HEX. So you very well could see something similar with that with Pulse. So like Big Pep said, no matter how small it is, just participate. Whatever you can participate, don't spread yourself thin, don't overthink it. But that has the potential to be life-changing gains for you down the road if you're able to hold and realize those rewards. So Pulse for HEX. What is that? So no time locking mechanism on Pulse for HEX?
HEX will.
Hex
will have it.
I think you worded that wrong, Element Hex. I
Are you
think you're
talking
asking
Pulse
about
token?
Pulse. Yeah,
Okay.
Pulse token. Yeah, so it's not gonna be a time lock feature, but I have a feeling with the delegation of your Pulse to validators, I bet you there will be some sort of time lock. Like, so say with Polkadot token, when you stake that or delegate it, I think they have like 28 days that your tokens are locked before you can remove them from that pool that you're a part of. So I imagine there'll probably be something similar emulated with delegation of your Pulse to validators. But it's not gonna be like Hex. It's not the same market.
Pulse will have more adopters initially since other communities will look for a safe haven for their DeFi. I mean, I guess a lot of that is TBD because it's like what communities other than HEX will come over. I mean, a lot of people have some ideas and speculative ideas.
It was funny. I was hanging out Internet Lurker. If you guys aren't following him on Twitter, he's sometimes in the chats. He's actually a very intelligent guy. He comes in the chats every now and then, but I started following him he does a lot of the Twitter spaces, like the voice chats they do.
Yeah.
And I love watching him around because he's very good at going around the entire ecosystem and checking out different discussions and stuff outside of HEX. And so,
join some that you've been in on because I see you in them.
I saw you. Yeah, I saw a couple.
Like, what the heck is Motley listening to? But it was actually interesting.
And that was the thing, right? So, like that one that you came in on, I'd followed Internet Lurker into it, and it was a bunch of guys they're interested in NFTs. A lot of them were artists, or supposedly, I don't know, but they're interested in NFTs, and like these guys legitimately like that stuff. That's what they're pursuing. That's what they're interested in. Just like we're interested in HEX, this is what these guys like. They like NFTs. And it was funny. I was just listening to the conversation, and I was curious, right? Like to see if there was an issue with it being on Ethereum. And sure enough, that was the discussion they were trying to solve. It's like, hey, where do we go with our NFTs? Where these gas fees are feasible, because on Ethereum it just sucks. That was literally what they were talking about. That was the consensus that these NFTs cannot exist on Ethereum just based off the fees alone. So they were talking about Solana and some other chains, and I was gonna mention Pulse Chain and all that stuff, but I forgot what I was. I think I was driving or something, so I couldn't really interact with my phone. But I was just like, man, this is like a perfect scenario. As much as I know Richard doesn't like NFTs or anything like that, there is community out there for those things, and they're hurting. They're not able to do what they want to do because of how Ethereum is right now, its current state. So like getting outside of your bubble and seeing these new ecosystems, you realize there are needs for what Pulse Chain brings to the table, and getting that message out in front of those audiences, that audience or those audience that need it, that's most important now, because I don't know how much validity these PRC20 tokens are going to have. A lot of them their utility or their function is not going to transfer over. So I think Pulse Chain's future is really going to depend on bringing over new developers, talented developers, people that want to build on Pulse Chain, people that want to be able to transfer, say, NFTs back and forth with little to no fees. Like, we need to attract that almost essentially new blood of the ecosystem that's just looking for a home where they can go and not pay $10, $20. Like, that's become the norm for us, right? Like, we think it's cheap now, but our norm is now paying $10, $20 to transact, which is absolutely absurd anywhere else. And even Vitalik himself said that years ago when Bitcoin was charging like 5 or 10 cents. He was like, that's absurd. Like, it should never be that high, blah, blah, blah. And like, look at us now. We're paying 10, 20. And then when we ramp back up, EIP 1559 comes out, you're going to be looking at $80, $100 again plus. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, winds are picking up here, and I'm going to get it before Pep. So just heads up. I actually thought it would like be raining by now. But...
Yeah, it looks pretty nice by Big Pep.
Yeah.
Just the hurricane is pretty mild.
Calm before the storm.
It was a beach penthouse there. I agree 100% Motley. That's my assumption too about the potential of the NFT.
It's kind of ironic, honestly, with how much.
Motley's point is spot on. I think initially you won't see that much adoption from the other coins just because of all the animosity and blah blah blah. But there's use cases, or there's plenty of projects that can't deny the benefits of Pulse. And I think it's just a matter of time before, maybe their users or themselves, they just swallow their pride and accept it and move on to it. And then new devs, like you said, coming in with lots of projects as well. It's going to take time, but yeah, a lot of potential there for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on my list here? Just like a couple things left. Richard mentioned actually a couple times on his very brief stream the Harvard guys, which we believe are involved in making sort of like the hex scale kind of thing. Any speculation as to what that could be specifically? And or I guess for you, Pep, like any thoughts on that ever gaining traction in traditional markets? Because I think that's the end game for a product like that. And I'm just a natural skeptic because just crypto in general, one, and then sort of like a hex stigma, two, and just traditional finance guys are very slow and skeptical to even touch something like that. So I just wonder.
I know he was said in the stream, he was talking to some Harvard guys. I have no idea what was it about. What was the context?
It's kind of like the like Grayscale has their Bitcoin investment trust, so kind of like a hex scale investment.
Like an ETF?
More or less, I think that's a fair.
But for stock market investors, for like
traditional markets, right? Yeah.
Traditional.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. There's lots of people talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Grayscale's done it, but it's for Bitcoin, and I think that's obviously
but there's another, and I can't remember her name. She's a big ETF, cutting edge.
I know
Kathy Wood.
The Kathy Wood. I think that's her talking about that for crypto. It's just a matter of time. Of course, it's going to be Bitcoin is the initial one.
Yeah, we need her in.
Products like Hex. Yeah, somebody like her, she could bring that in.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time. Sure. I don't know if these Harvard guys are going to do it. I don't know anything about them. But it's nice to see some conversations going on there. Sure. It's good traction.
Yeah. You are welcome, Limon. Will ending stakes on Pulse Chain for PHEX have S-load differences? All cheap, I know, but will a long stake cost more to end?
I imagine they've changed.
Probably.
I imagine they changed the S-load with the fork. I imagine.
Yeah, but I would maybe guess just slightly a little bit. But if the whole point of the fork is, if the whole point of the fork is to lower everything, then I'm sure that is like a large consideration of this.
I mean that's why we forked in the first place, right? Because they were continuing to increase S-load, so I'm sure they corrected that. But that's probably beyond most of our scope. That's like a better question for like Fireball and Steph, someone that's a little bit more technical developers.
Yes, Motley is at the beach with he's right here right now. Yes. So,
I wish.
More questions. I've seen this mentioned multiple times in the chat, so I'm gonna have to check this out. So Elio Fades
no way.
Hex and somebody put it
someone linked that shit.
Yeah, somebody said 35 minutes, I think, of his last video. So
I'm definitely not watching that, so I need that linked.
Yeah. So put the time, tweet that out or something. If it's probably already out there. But yeah, tag Motley in that. I'll see it.
That dude got so many people wrecked with so many rug pulls and scams, and then had the audacity to just call Hex a scam. It's just gross.
Yeah. Well, I think what you could see also as a product of the bear market is a lot of these guys who have just driven their followers right off a cliff along with them. They'll look at Hex and be like, oh, okay. And they might do an Elio Fates thing here to where
they'll all jump on the train.
Or it's not all that bad, and be like, see guys, I said something positive. This is one of my best performers. And it's like, oh, shut up. So,
yeah. That's why it's important to remember who's here now, not who's here later.
Yeah.
After
question from Cassius: are the tiers based on the cumulative of all sacrifices or per sacrifice?
It's gonna be it's gonna be cumulative. So for the volume phase, it's gonna calculate how much you sacrifice for those three days, since time's not a factor. So
isn't there also like a 30-minute window too?
yeah, but that's just going to be what your USD value is. The TWAP for whenever you do decide to sacrifice a certain allocation of coins. But it will be cumulative overall.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hex Monkey's like, there are tiers. He said so. We just don't know. So
according to Overwatch, they're 3x if you can bring $1 million to the table. I bet he would like that.
Me, you, and Pep Motley. Let's make a pact on the stream right now.
All right.
Sure.
We're going to 3x that bonus. Get an X for each of us. So,
you might need to bring in some more firepower than me. I don't think I can help get that over there too much, but I'll do what I can.
All right. Yeah, so pretty much gone through everything. Just, I guess, some general speculation before we close out here. And the sun is actually trying to peek out. This storm is quite strange as it's getting a little brighter. So we've been doing this a lot lately. Just days now, Pulse Hex or Pulse Chain Sacrifice dates. We see it in the next 5 days.
Before August 4th, which is the new EIP 1559 date.
Yeah, but do you think the sacrifice would want to be done by then?
As long as it starts before, I think it's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, if our website edits away, it happens
when it happens.
Yeah, I know, it's just fun, but yeah. If our website edits away, then like Pep was saying at the top of the show, it's like, okay, it's done. It's just waiting for the right time at this point.
I think maybe this weekend. I think the code is done. I don't think there's any more work going on. I think it's ready. Maybe this weekend.
I like it.
Yeah.
Optimistic. Right. We're ready. We're ready either way. So.
Yeah, I remember these websites, Crypto Orange, back in the days of Hex launch AA. Is there any site that will show the amounts of each sacrifice coin as each day passes? I would guess something is in development or something will be launched to that effect. Because you saw just all these like multiple sites coming just out of nowhere for the AA launch. And they were well done. I mean, you could just track the AA by each transaction and graphs. Things like that. I would not be surprised at all to see that. Somebody should work on that if it's not.
Yeah, I think Richard a couple people brought up to Richard in the Pulse chat. Essentially, they're just like, hey, it'd be good to have a nice UI just where you can see how much total has been sacrificed and who's like a leaderboard kind of thing. Just to kind of build that staker app kind of competition. It'd be fun. It'd be cool. I'm sure something like that's in the works. If not by Richard, by a community member for sure.
Yeah, because the community is awesome. And what's cool is if you go to graphhex.rocks, which is now like apphex.win or something like that, they already have like a sacrifice in their pie chart, which is cool.
Ready.
I think it's going to be a very tiny sliver just because of the amounts in that whole pie chart. But hey, we never know. That would be pretty darn cool. Interesting here from EF Hutton. 6th anniversary of Ethereum is on July 30th. That would be making a statement to start the sacrifice then. Yep. And it wasn't the blocks of 1337 ETH or something like that headed out from the AA, like transaction by transaction. I forget what that reference has been so long ago, but it harkened back to, I guess, an original Ethereum reference. Somebody will have it in the chat here. And everybody was just like, oh my gosh, the origin address is withdrawing. Here it is. We told you about it. And it was just whoever the OA is was just trolling them with this, significant number that harkened back to Ethereum's history. So, well, you are awesome, Eric. Thank you for joining us, man. DCC's Pulse launch prediction, July 14th. Yeah, and I forget the exact reasoning, but I think it was to get the sac phase done and then before the August 4th London date for Ethereum.
Right. I changed my prediction now. It's July 13th. I'm going to front run.
Yeah, front run him.
I'm going to front run his prediction.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, gents. Well, we've gone down the list. Yeah, just thank you for everybody. Like 80 viewers. I mean, that's a lot for an impromptu stream that, just happened out of nowhere. I thought we were going to bring you like some live hurricane action. Instead, I can like turn around.
What do we got? Not
It's
much.
just a decent sunset right now. So,
nice.
Yeah.
These are Florida hurricanes, everyone.
But I'll just look down the coast. I mean, it's coming, but so they were like, oh, 10 o'clock. It's going to be, ramping up to the worst, but still could happen. Maybe 11 or 12 now, but it'll be a lot worse by now. But we'll see. A lot of rain, a lot of wind. That's how it goes here. So Pep knows more than me.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, they don't usually turn out. I mean, it's hit or miss, but yeah. Hopefully, if it stays like that, that's fine.
It's like 1 in 20 actually do some damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Happy to hold my seed words.
I bet.
No problem. And just watch. I've been saying this like every week now. Be careful, everyone out there, guys, who's watching this. I mean, I'm seeing comments in Twitter now for trying to answer questions about MetaMask. They're triggered by the MetaMask keyword. Somebody's got to search on that. So any notification of MetaMask will pop up, and then they spam that feed as a MetaMask help link. And that link takes you to like a Google Doc. And the last thing in that Google Doc is, and the last thing we need is your 12-word seed phrase. And don't worry, this is only to help you, something like that. It's like, ugh, that infuriates me. Do not fall for that, guys. You're going to see so much of that crap coming up.
There's more coming with the sacrifice phase too. We've already seen in Telegram these fake pulse chain groups coming up announcing the launch, and they have someone was telling me today they only had like three different addresses you could sacrifice to. It's like HEX, USDC, and Ethereum. Like, it's all bullshit, guys. Like, unless you back it up with pulsechain.com, Richard Hart's Twitter, Richard Hart's Telegram, like, you triple verify, run it through some community members. Like, do not send your money anywhere, because there's going to be so many fake sacrifice addresses out there. So they're already out there now. So just be very, very careful. It has not started yet.
Yeah, walk, don't run into the sacrifice phase.
No, there's
going to be some very clever, convincing scams, I'm sure.
100%. That's what they were telling me today, is they actually like went back and copied a lot of like all the Chad and Richard's comments and everything from the original Pulse Chain chat. So it looked pretty legitimate. So just be very careful. But then they noticed there's only like 3 coins they could sacrifice, and they're like, oh, that seems odd. So yeah.
Element, yeah, we're right around you too, bro. So yep, nothing but a oddly calm sunset, and I say that and it'll turn. So, but all right, guess before we go around the room, Big Pep, where can our community find you, sir?
Big Pep on YouTube, Big Pep Crypto on Twitter.
Motley Investor.
Yep. Motley Investor on Twitter, YouTube, and Telegram. And also, I'll be hosting Nights of the Crypto this Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. It'll be the first time we've done it since Vegas, now that we're all nice and recovered. And we'll have a couple surprise guests, and we'll have a nice unveiling of some cool stuff that they
golden chart.
I'll say it's a holy grail of sorts. So,
okay.
Once I hop off the stream, I'll go ahead and get the thumbnail up and put that information out. But yeah, come hang out. Got some new people coming in, and it should be a fun hangout stream for sure.
Thank you, Stylus, for tuning in to us. Well, Tony. So, yep, we'll leave it there. And I guess one more shot of the little sunset action. But yeah, still waiting on the hurricane.
Ferocious.
Which will, yes. Just another hour, this whole thing can turn. We had some rain bands here already. It was just sideways and nasty, but yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll. Oh yeah, travel plans not sure yet. Trying to definitely do the happy hour show at its regular time. I'll post if we can't pull that off, but right now, this Friday, going for the normal time. So I just wanted to put that out before we sign off. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, guys, for joining us. and it's starting to rain
Okay.
on cue.
There we go.
See ya.
See you guys.
Later, guys. Bye, everyone.